Yes, thank you very much. I will try to keep it short. My apology for that, but I think what we wanted to do for today is really to take this opportunity, because we have a very important provision to implement by the 2nd of July. That means in a few days or in a few weeks, more or less. And we wanted to give at least the opportunity to give industry a little bit guidance on how we are going to proceed with the provisions or the implementation of these provisions. Valerie, can you perhaps go it on full screen, and I will try to make it as short as possible. So just for the people who are not so familiar with the regulations, in the regulation we have new provisions which place an obligation on the agency to publish a format on the 2nd of July, which will help marketing authorization holders to submit medicinal product information for medicinal products for human use electronically. The purpose of this is that at the agency we have to establish a database, and subject to the database we want to establish also a list of all medicinal products which are authorized in the Union for various reasons. One, of course, is the information and communication to patients and also to the public in general on what types of products we have licensed in the European Union. But secondly, as I have mentioned also before, it's very important for the activities in pharmacovigilance and also on how we want to communicate on information in relation to medicinal products. So I have said we have an obligation to publish a format on the 2nd of July this year. The legislation then also puts an obligation on companies to submit then product information based on the format that is published by the agency within the next 12 months. So this is very important, just at least to make companies aware of that this obligation exists, and that we have to support these obligations now by accepting information in electronic format from the companies. And as I mentioned, the deadline for the first completion of the initial submission of this information is specified in the legislation with the 2nd of July next year. And then you see also that this is not an initial submission, but there is also a clear obligation on marketing authorization holders in the future to keep this information up to date. This refers either to new marketing authorizations or where variations are taking place on medicinal product information. This should be also submitted. So this is just to explain the legal background. Now, of course, for the agency, the legislation was published on the 31st of December last year. This was quite a challenge now, or puts forward a quite challenge for us, because we have, of course, also to make sure that we can support the companies in complying with these new provisions. So in order to do that, we will publish on the 1st of July the format that shall be used by the companies for this electronic submission of medicinal product information. In addition to this format, we will also prepare detailed guidance on what needs to be considered and how information should be submitted. Just to explain to you from a technical perspective, we have tried not to reinvent the wheel. We have already something established previously, specifically related to support product information and EudraVigilance. And the format that will be published on the 1st of July will be compliant with the EudraVigilance report message format that we are currently using. However, we had to do or to perform enhancements of this format, taking also into account what I have mentioned previously, that we are also focusing on the implementation of the new ISO standards on identification of medicinal products. That means all the data that we are collecting now need to be collected in a format so we can easily transfer them then into the new format, into the new ISO format once this is available. And these adaptations refer specifically to the expression of strength. Also, in addition, what we will ask companies is to submit attachments, so summary of product characteristics, the patient leaflet, and annexes for centrally authorized products. And the third enhancement in relation to the information that will be collected refers to the detailed description or the detailed provision of the characteristics of the ingredients that are contained in a medicinal product. So we have done this, as I said, in the context of the international standardization work. The international standard on identification of medicinal products are expected to be finalized at the beginning of 2012. And again, with the EMA Management Board, we have discussed in March an implementation strategy, and we have fully recognized that companies and also in the future, perhaps national competent authorities wish to implement these standards, and we need to give sufficient time for this implementation. So our implementation plan at the moment, again, subject to availability of the necessary funds in the EU, we plan to implement these ISO IDMP standards by the end of 2014. And subsequent to this implementation, this format for this electronic submission of medicinal product information will be adapted then subsequently in accordance with these standards. So hopefully with that approach, we will also give sufficient time for the stakeholders to prepare for implementation. And as I pointed out, what we are implementing at the moment is already taking into account that we have to be fully compatible with the standards once they have finalized. And we need to avoid that we need to rearrange data or manipulate data when we then migrate to this new information standard. So then very briefly, this is the information that we will be asking from the company. So as I said, this is based on what we are mainly doing at the moment already. So we will ask for a provision of the name of the product, the provision of the therapeutic area to which the product is assigned to. And at the moment, we are using the ATC classification for that. Also, we will ask to specify if the product is subject to additional monitoring. This additional monitoring is coming into force for biological medicinal products since January this year and will be then extended to all other products after the 2nd of July 2012. So this, of course, will be only then applicable as of that date. We will also collect details of the marketing authorization holder and a brief description of the clinical particulars in relation to therapeutic indications. And then we want to collect also information on the marketing authorization and the marketing status, because again, this is very important, I think, for the overall activities in relation to the different types of medicinal products, and also to provide information if a product is actually available on the market or not. The next information then that we are focusing is a detailed description of the active ingredients, but also the excipients. And for instance, for vaccines where an adjuvant is used, that this should be specified as well. We ask for a specific indication of the strengths of the active ingredients, and specifically for the advanced therapy medicinal products and where we have cell therapy products in combination with a medical device, we will also ask for this information. The specification of the dose form, the route of administration, and also a brief description of the packaging information will be also part of the information that will be requested. In addition, as I said, with an electronic copy of the SPC and the package leaflet. So in order to facilitate the implementation, as I said, our plan is to comply with the legislation and publish the format. Over the year, we will further develop tools that will provide the possibility to submit this product information in electronic format directly to the agency. So this will be specifically targeted to, for instance, the needs of small and medium-sized enterprises which might have not the necessary technical tools available. And we are also planning a large-scale user training for companies in order to familiarize with these requirements. We have scheduled a specific information session on the implementation of this Article 57 provisions, and also in the context of the ISO IDMP standards development process. So this is planned for the 22nd and the 23rd of September. And here, as I said, our plan is really to inform about the practical aspects on the submission of the medicinal product information and the latest developments on the finalization of the ISO identification of medicinal product standards. And with that, I would like to thank you. I know this is a lot of new information for you, but we will try really to work with you over the next months very intensively, because it's a big challenge for us. We know it's a challenge for you, but we are still confident that this is an achievable objective, and I'm sure that this will be a very beneficial outcome for all of us. So thank you very much.
So I believe this point would have deserved proper agenda items. Unfortunately, we were informed very, very late this afternoon that we had to put it on the agenda. Is there any burning question? Because I think it's something which is very important for our colleagues in industry. So please.
Yeah, the question we have from industry is that many products will be authorized in territories where English is not the language used on the SPC. So will the publication on the 2nd of July come with a Q's and A's to make clear how we will be expected to provide this information?
We are working on detailed guidance, and of course there will be always new questions coming up through the implementation. So definitely we will start with an initial Q&A set, and then of course, depending on the further questions we will be receiving, we will enlarge the scope of these Q&As and make it up to date on a regular basis.
Thank you very much. No other burning question? Yes, please.
My name is Alexander Suero, and I'm a representative of Pharm. And in the last presentation, Sabine mentioned that the target will be the Smith company. I want to know what EMA pretends to do for this kind of company, because the financial efforts for this company are very, very high to implement new tools, new EudraVigilance and training, and of course to implement the new medicinal dictionary. And I want to know what you intend to do for these companies, the Smith companies.
Sabine?
Well, as we did in the past, we have always made tools available for small and medium-sized enterprises in order to help them to comply, for instance, with the electronic reporting of adverse reaction reports. We will provide, as I mentioned, tools also to submit this product information in electronic format. Again, as I mentioned, we have already the EudraVigilance product submission on a core set of data implemented, and this is the tool which we will further extend in order to make it available so companies can use it. And for the training, of course, we will have face-to-face training. We have also reduced fees for smaller companies, but we are looking also into the possibility of developing e-learning courses or webinars in order to help the rollout of these provisions as well in practice. So it's all it's all under preparation, but you have seen it was also for us a very short period of time available. But over the summer, we will try to get this all set up, and then as of September, when we have this information day, we will then really roll out with the training informations, the tools, and so on.
One last comment. Of course, that you prefer the face-to-face training that is more and more specific, but our concern is the costs, and you intend to our propose, and you mentioned, is the fees for these costs. And I think that TMA must be the intention in this situation.